Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LANCESCURV of LANCESCURV.com. How much are they paying you to give up on your dreams? They? Who are they? These people who own companies, the people that you work for, whoever it may be. You have a supervisor, you have a company owner. Some people call it boss. I don't call it that because I'm the boss of my own world. I'm the president of my own world. I make my own decisions. But lots of times what I've noticed in America, especially, I can't speak for any other country because I don't know what kind of benefits that they get with different jobs. I know in different places it's really terrible. You really get next to nothing. And some people say, well, you know, in America, you get so much more. But is that really true? Because when I look at the amount of suicides, mental illness, depression, substance abuse, of those people who are working in the American system, which it's not one pay rate in the American system. You have people who are not making much and you have people who are making more than they deserve. Okay. But the overall down the middle consensus from what I would say living there is that they're ripping you off. They're ripping you off because the dollar can be adjusted. The value of the dollar can be adjusted so you can make more dollars, but it's not worth much with inflation. Haven't you noticed that your money, the US dollar doesn't even stretch the way it used to even 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Forget going back to the 70s. Because like I always say, my good buddy who, every time I say the word, it gives me a Mike Tyson moment, a statistician. Is that the way to say it? Well, he worked for big companies and he was in charge of checking out the statistics and studying them and making sure that they were making off better as a company. But he was independent and he would be hired by these different companies to tighten them up and say, hey, in this area you're spending too much. This is what you should be getting according to the market value. It goes deep. I can't even repeat what he said. But what he did say that stuck with me, and this was back maybe 2018, 2017. It wasn't too long ago. It wasn't like 50 years ago. But he said the 2017-18 dollar was only 13 cents of the 1973 dollar. 13 cents, not like 75 cents or 80 cents, but 13 cents. Let's round that down because 13 is closer to 10. Let's just say it's 1/10. And in these years since he told me that, this is 2023, a few years went by, it possibly went down. It didn't go up. We know that. It might be less than 10%. I don't know. But let's just say it's 10%. And that's not too far off on a guesstimate level. 1/10 of the 1973. Okay, 1973, it was like the 2023 dollar would be around 10%. 10% of the 1973 dollar, right? That's crazy. So I would need 2023 dollars to make one 1973 dollar. And like I always say on my other podcast, I would say how my mother, my father, we'd go grocery shopping and they would take a little bit of money, $50, and buy a whole crap load of groceries. The same as if right now you go to the supermarket and take $500. It's about $50 of what you would spend in 1973. Right? So we chase this almighty dollar. We run it down. We do overtime. We budget, we save, we live below our means just to stretch this thing so much more. But it's like trying to fill a bucket with water that has multiple holes in the bottom of it. You're not really going to fill it up all the way. And if you do get to the point of filling it up, you better keep filling it up, which means you better keep running the rat race just to stay even. When do you get a chance to stop? And when do you get a chance to go after your dreams? Do you have dreams? Do you have goals? Do you have financial goals? Do you have a goal of how you'd like to live? Let's take the money out of it for a second, right? Which you can't really do. But how do you want to live? And I had to ask myself that question many years ago. Not that I had to. I always thought like that. Because after a while, when I couldn't do the things, not that I'm comparing, that I saw others who are more affluent doing, I'm like, why can't I do that? Well, the reason why I couldn't do it was because I was stuck into this financial trap of job. That maybe at the end of the year, I'll get a 25 cents raise. I'll get a 50 cents raise. What is that going to do when the medical benefits go up on what you contribute to have those benefits? What is that going to do when the dollar diminishes? What is it going to do? It's a trap. So how do you get out of this trap? You have to be brave, number one. You're just not going to jump off of a job and jump on the street corner or on the curb and say, okay, everything's going to be all right. You better be shrewd in what you do. You have to know what it is that you can do to generate money at your own pace and pay yourself even better. It's so many variables to this, and so many of us are so locked in that we truly feel that if we toil and toil and toil and work and work and work and put in the hours, that we will get that pat on the head as being this good worker. And then all of a sudden, they're going to let you in to this affluent lifestyle. Okay, you've been working for us for 25 years. We're going to give you this big house. You don't have to pay for it at all. We're going to give you this luxury vehicle. You don't have to pay for it at all. You won't have to work. We will pay you every single month because you've been a faithful and loyal worker. You know what? That ain't never going to happen. According to the people that are up top in your company or where you work or the system you're in, which the American system, that's what it is. You are going to work until the day you die. And if you don't work until the day you die, you're not going to have the kind of lifestyle that you want and won't be able to afford it. I'm not being negative, but that's what it's going to be for the majority of the people. Some people beat the system from within the system. Some people do things proper early on and they get out. They don't stay into their 60s. And then when you get out, usually on these pension plans that don't exist anymore, right? They don't exist. 401k, that's crap. By the time you retire, it's not enough. If you can retire, and when you do retire, you usually end up doing some part-time job somewhere else, and you still can't make ends meet. I wasn't playing that game. I saw how the system did people. I saw how by the time they worked so hard and beat their bodies down with overtime and cheap food, hurrying up on the way to the job, well, I'll just grab this to just eat at lunchtime. I'm working overnight. You're not getting any sleep. You're not getting any good nutrition in your body. And all those years of doing that with the aggravation and so-called supervisors who are riding your ass to get more out of you, nitpicking more out of you. And you think if you subject yourself to that punishment, you're going to be rewarded at the end of the day. It ain't going to happen. And by the time you get to that point, guess what? You're sick. You have earned the right to be sick because you dogged yourself out. You didn't get enough sleep. You didn't have the proper nutrition. You weren't thinking about that. You were so focused on chasing the almighty dollar, which is really in exchange for your precious life force, the precious life force that you will have with you if you did right, that you can carry with you into your older ages, or late 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. Think of it as momentum. When you pedal a bike and you stop pedaling, how far will that bike go? If you have righteous, proper momentum in your life, your lifestyle, by the way you treat yourself, you take care of yourself, get your rest, you get your nutrition, and you don't get too aggravated in the system. And you cultivated this inner strength. And when you stop and you get out of that system, you have so much life force inside of you. You have enthusiasm to do the things that you wanted to do when you were younger, but you're so beat down now, and you gave your life force in exchange, beating yourself down. Oh, do you think you can work an extra shift today? I'm a little tired, but I'll do it. I'll do it because, it's going into my pension. It's going into my retirement. But what good is it if you're not around? How many people do you know that by the time they retire, they find themselves dead? This is the system that you feed into, and this is what you don't want to have happen. LANCESCURV here. Much love to you all. Hit LANCESCURV.com, the website. You can see all the art, the writing, and the videos that I do. I want you to think about that. Leave your comments. LANCESCURV out.